All right, hello everyone. It is me, Dramatic Flare. So as we all know, the first trailer released pretty recently, and because of that, we finally know when the anime is gonna come out. April 6th, guys. How's that? Pretty good, right? Not great for me because I have that spell video to finish, and I do not have much time. Granted, it will be April 30th that I'm aiming for, 3 days after episode 4, but that's still really close and concerning. But, it's good for you. We get Witch Hat soon. We've been waiting long enough, and it's finally here. So, as a resident magic man, I thought I should break down the spells in the first trailer. So, without further ado, let us begin. Just a warning, this isn't my first react. I've seen this before. Alright, right off the bat, Petrification. Now, we never saw this thing in the manga, except for one brief snippet for like half a panel. We did see it, though we didn't know what it was until the first trailer, or I guess not a trailer, it's more of a PV, until that released, and we actually saw the spell for the first time. Now, we only saw it for about 6 frames, and in none of them was it fully visible. It was always a little obfuscated, a little dark, a little unclear, and details were smidged. But by stitching them all together, we managed to get a full redraw, which is this. We have the full design. Now, it doesn't really make much sense. There is definitely structure behind it. It's not one of those spells where Sensei just throws something together and just calls it a day. It feels like there's intention in here, though that's just a hunch, a gut feeling, gleaned from 5.5 years of doing this, but it does feel like it has some intention behind it. Now, of course, there are a few signs we can recognize, like bend, column, the standard culprits, and also, I think dispersion. I don't have it in front of me right now, but dispersion's in there, I'm pretty sure, as well as the earth sigil. But down here is the most interesting part. This thing is time stop. Time stop stops time. So why would that be in a spell that turns someone to stone? They're already turned to stone. You shouldn't really need to stop time to preserve them, right? So 2 things. Either Coco's mom is still in there. She is still conscious and alive, but she needs time to be stopped to freeze her as a statue. It could be like a People of Romanon type thing where she's still like, moving entity, and the time stop is just there to stop her from, continuing to move and think. Or some kind of preservation spell, meaning that it's supposed to be, reversed, because if you're preserving your stone, I mean, stone doesn't really degrade, but if it's a human statue that you want to animate later, it would be good to make sure it doesn't erode or anything, you know what I mean? Because stone does degrade slowly, but like a little bit could have a big effect on someone, like a few years of acid rain peels off the skin. It doesn't look bad for the statue, but for the person it could be. So maybe it's some kind of like preservation spell, which is why time stop is in there, but we don't really know. We'll have to wait and see. All right, here we have the Pegasus carriage spell. So this thing is it's my personal nightmare. It doesn't make as I'd like. This is a design that was in chapter 1, and chapter 1 is notorious for having designs that kind of don't hold up with the rest of the magic system, just because it was early, since it was fleshing things out. Things weren't fully defined yet. But since I seem to hold on to most of the design for the spell whenever she canonized it, I guess it does look cool. I will give it that. And having wind underfoot signs or sigils underneath it to keep it aloft, and using floats, stabilization, level planes, whatever you want to call it. Having that there too also makes sense. But like the whirling winds, I don't see much spinning for this thing, so I'm not sure why that was included. It might have been to prep us for some of the future spells we saw later, like the ones that turned the platforms during the Silver Eve, like to make the leech spell, circular. Could have been to prep us for understanding those, but I really don't know why it's here. No one does. Like every now and then, Sensei throws a spell at us that doesn't make that much sense. Probably wasn't fully designed, not thought out fully, which is understandable. You can only put so much time and effort into the manga, into the magic system, whenever you're mostly focusing on the story. But it is what it is. But this one does look cool. It's got wind sigils, it's got sight sets, it's got aeriforms defined, which doesn't really make much sense why it's called that. It should be wind defined, because aeriforms is something completely different. But yeah, it is what it is. You have to give up at a certain point. Not everything's perfect, but yeah. All right, you're gonna notice a lot of the same thing in a second. So, yep, there's the Atelier, 7.5 million copies sold. Great. There is the fucking assembly. There we are. Okay. So, right here, Kifri, they forgot his heal spell. But on Tetsuya, they remembered it. And wait, does Richie have it? I gotta go back and check. Yes, she does. That's great. And Kifri, they forgot it on his heal here, even though it's a close-up shot. Now, we don't know what the heal spell is supposed to be. We never see it large enough for them to draw in the detail. This has actually plagued me for years. I have 30 examples of them, including the heal spell, without actually showing us the design of it, which haunts my dreams. It is the stuff of nightmares for me. But, you know, it is what it is. And they seem to have forgotten it in a lot of frames in the trailer, which, I mean, it's understandable. It's a small detail, but it does bug me. Oh, wait, I forgot to explain the spell. Yeah, the Sylph Shoes, bro. So we got Wind Underfoot, we got Convergence, we got Levitation. Now, Levitation, obviously, it levitates stuff, Wind Underfoot. The name implies you're putting wind under your feet, so it's kind of like a platform, presumably. Convergence might be to, like, focus it to under the feet specifically, which would make sense. But, yeah. And then, we got Coco. Oh, she looks so cute here. Silverwood. If you know, you know. Another side set spell. I mean, not side set. What am I saying? That's Sylph Shoes. Oh, she's got a I keep skipping over stuff. She's got a pigment stone whenever she's drawing here. See that? That's what she uses during chapter 3, or chapter 3 and 4, I think, when she's taking the first test instead of having a pen. But yeah. She's drawing some... Oh my god, my reaction finger is too slow today. So we got some fire, Pyreball on the desk. Now, if you look at these spells, you will see that the fire sigils go in a little bit instead of just having the line extend out, which is a trend in the trailer. It does bother me a tad, but it is what it is. We got Kifri, we got Agate, Aura farming. Always love it. Tetsuya, looking pink as always. Richie, great. Brushbug, amazing. Oru, my goat. Look at you, bruh. Igwin, okay. I have had many arguments with people that have stated that he is using just blood for this ink. No. Not use blood alone as ink. Blood alone as ink does not make a crazy forbidden spell. You need ink and blood. All right, no blood only. That's not how this works. I can finally put those arguments behind me. Now, the what's it called? The window way here is pretty much identical in design to the one we see in chapter 1. I mean, well, it's not chapter 1. That's chapter 3 and 4, I think. But oh wait, I've gone too far. But this thing in the trailer we actually see that wasn't shown. So basically, if you look here. Just give me a sec. Gotta go back. Wow, that's a lot more frames. So this inner ring, in the trailer, we see about half of it, but it's a half that we didn't see in the manga because Kifri was standing in front of it for that. We do see a little more detail than we had in the past. Right here, we have a vapor bubble. I'll put the spell for it on screen here. They basically use gathering signs. So let's think about this. Let's see if I remember. So signs, obviously, to gather water. We got... the water sigil, of course, because it's a water spell. We have cooling, and we have... Oh, great. I don't remember the full design. But basically, the principle behind... I'll put everything on screen right now. It's hard to remember this off the top of my head. But it uses gathering signs to pull... I think it also has wind sigils. Gathering signs to pull water from the air. And then it uses cooling to condense it down and turn it into basically a ball of water between the bottom plate, which is shown here, and the top plate, which is off screen at the moment. And basically, it's a good way to get water. Now, why would they gather it from the air when water spells can seemingly create water? So the principle behind this, or the main thought process, is that it's using the battery theory of magic, basically. So the thought process is magic it requires energy, right? Spells that create something, obviously, will use a lot more energy than spells that just passively gather it from the environment. And as such... those ones that are passive will last longer because they're expending less energy than the ones that create. So if you want a thing that can make water for a long period of time, you're going to need it to have, you're going to have to make considerations in the design so it uses less energy if you want it to last a while. So gathering from the air instead of just producing it like a water spell like Water Shot would do is a pretty wise choice to make sure it lasts, as long as possible without having to be replaced. So that's what that's why we think the vapor bubble works the way it does. Now, battery theory isn't confirmed, but it is supported by a lot of spells and a lot of examples in the manga. So that's our primary theory for how this works. Oh, wait, right here? We see the top. Oh, come on, Kifri. Move a little slower. That's the top of the vapor bubble. Now, actually, I don't think we've ever seen it held from just the bottom. I think people have to hold it from the top. So that's an interesting choice. I didn't realize it could do that. Now here, we have a wall-mounted Floatglow lamp. So there's two designs for this thing. There's the non-wall-mounted version and the wall-mounted version, which have completely different designs. Here, a bit of the confusion with the stabilization slash level planes sign, formerly known as float, because originally this thing was what they had in the chapter 2, I think, panel, showing levitation signs. So it was originally the old levitation sign, but they retconned that and replaced it with the new one in subsequent releases after the magazine release in Japan. So why they did that exactly, we aren't sure, but it does throw the function of float into question, especially when the non-wall mounted version still makes use of it, while the wall-mounted one does not. So the exact details of the partial retcon are unclear, but this is the wall-mounted version, which uses levitation to levitate the light above. The light and the hat-shaped top are right here to levitate it above the bottom plate, and also convergence, presumably to focus the light into a ball in the center. Now this is Kifri's, what's it called? His glowstone path. Basically, it works by having what looks like 4 little pads in the corner. You step on the step on the top plate. The top plate and the base come together, completing the line on the lower spell. Well, completing the spell by touching the 2 lines together, allowing it to activate and make the platform glow. Now, this is what I was mentioning earlier with the window way. We can see much more of the circle than we could before. And the part that we can see is the part that was obscured by Kifri in chapter 4. So it's a good change. We get to see the whole design now. There's Coco using the pigment stone again. We never see her use these later, which is a little interesting. Oh, 3 spells rapid succession. Okay, first up, Pyre Ball. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier, the lines going in. It's a little atypical. Sometimes Sensei does this ways. It seems the official Fire Sigil doesn't have this, but sometimes they are shown like that. So I don't think there's a design difference or a spell difference. It's just a matter of the artist drawing it, I suppose. But yeah, it is something to note. So Pyre Ball uses levitation, of course, to levitate the flame above the spell. Now, next up, we have... Oh my god, such fast cuts. Okay, we have Aerial Lore. This uses a puppet sign. Puppet sign allows you to move things with your mind. And then it has... So basically, the function of this is it allows you to move what it's drawn on through the air using the wind. And next up, we have a blurry, or very obscured version of the Dragon's Bed of Sand spell from Chapter 7. The one that they used to create to... support the dragon sleeping on it. I will explain this later because we get better pictures of it. And here we have repetition. Now, what repetition does is a little unclear. What it seems to do is it seems to repeat the same moment that the spell was either or the moment that it started acting upon something. So like something was placed near it. Normally we see it inside of another circle, but based on this example, you can probably just you definitely can just have it acting on its own, like without any outer circle around it, which is the same thing we see in Time Stop. So I actually do like that change. We never saw it like this in the manga, but this change puts it more in line with, Counter Clock and Time Stop, the 2 other time spells, which is a welcome change. Now over here, we have another Pyre Ball with the lines going in. So that might be more of a mainstay going forward. That might become the standard for fire spells, which, I mean, if they keep it consistent, I have no complaints with. We do need these retcons to set the early chapters straight. They have a lot of spell inconsistencies. So seeing those changes, it's a good thing. It's a good thing when Sensei, goes out of her way to rectify old mistakes. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Now, here we see Coco using her hang glider thing. Okay, this spell right here. In chapter 1, I mean, no, not chapter 1, chapter 3 and 4, I think, we saw this in 2 opposite directions, right? So, of course, it's a wind sigil with a levitation sign. So, levitating, propelling through the air in the direction of the levitation sign. I think all of it, better shot of it in a second. Let's see. Okay, guess not. But let's see if I can get a better... angle on it. No, not really. But you can see the back levitation sign here and the front of it here. So now it's pointing forward, while in the manga it had between two shots it changed direction. So it's good to finally know which one is the correct direction. This actually puts a lot more context into levitation itself, because before we weren't sure which direction levitation actually acted in because you have, you know, those two inconsistent panels. But this sets the record straight. So now we know that it acts in the direction of the arrow. All right, here is Richie using Self Shoes, always good to see. Now here, they are drawing the Serpent's Bed of Sand spell. So I think we do get a better shot. I'm going to hold out on explaining it until we get that, but in the case that we don't, I will just talk about it at the end of the video. All right, yeah, better shot right here. Let's see how good it gets. Okay, let's find the best one. Come on, Richie. Okay, I guess this might be the best we got to work with. All right, so repetition. This thing, what it does, it repeats the same moment in time, so things don't, you know, basically it resets stuff. And then we have convergence and column. So what this does is it keeps resetting what is within the spell. What's within the spell? Well, we have a billowing sign in the center with collection signs around it. Basically what it will do is it will collect material and form it into a cloud. And then for the purpose of supplying that material to the cloud, we have the wall breaker signs oriented around it. Wall breaker, as we know, will destroy things using column and crush. So column makes it act in a beam, so it crushes the things underneath it. Crush is, you know, the part that crushes material itself, and in this case, earth, as defined by the earth sigil. And so with that together, it creates sand, basically crushed earth, which is collected by the billowing sign. The billowing spell formed a new cloud, and then repetition, bolstered by column and convergence, holds repeats the same moment in time for the cloud. So that way, if something sits on the cloud, like the dragon, and crushes it down, repetition will restore it to its initial state, basically resetting that moment over and over so it doesn't actually get crushed, which is a pretty clever way to use it. And that's actually probably the main way that repetition should be used, you know, just to make sure that things don't get changed too much. You can use it to make fabric go from bendy to springy, to make clouds go from crushable to fluffy, and a lot of other similar applications. All right, yep, this another good shot of the spells Coco was using. They kind of changed the proportions of the levitation sign here, but I have no complaints with that. That's fine. You know, it's hard to draw for animation. Like, oof, I do not envy these guys at all. So here's the dragon I was mentioning before. It's a very cool dragon, and of course we have Tetia. Look at that face, so precious. All right, there they are drawing more of the Dragon's Bed of Sand spell. Wonderful 2D dragon. I am so pleased with that. 2D is always better for your dragons, you know? It's the way to go. Oh, wait, yep. Let's see. Let's see how many of the heals they forgot it on. Oh, did they get it on everybody? Yo, they remembered the spells on everyone's heals. Let's go. You love to see it. Oh, yep. This day as a healing witch. This is my 9/11, you know. They massacred my people. It's atrocious. And here we are. No heal spell again. Thank you, Kifri, for torturing me like this. I would love to see that. You have a perfect panel right here. A perfect frame. Spell in full detail, but you don't, just to torture me. Thank you, Sensei. I love when you do that. There we are. Look at that. Look at that beautiful spell. So gorgeous. Notice how it completes even though it's not there. That's interesting. I'm not sure how to feel about that. Oh my god, hold on. Let's just take a second to appreciate how absolutely amazing this frame is, bro. Okay. I have an issue with what you say here, Kifri. I have an issue. Forbidden magic is not exclusively for hurting others. You forget the healing witches, bro. We did so much for everyone, and then you just wiped us out, pointed hats. Like, absolutely abysmal. This is like, I admit, the pact was necessary. Like, the stuff I've seen what people without rules will make in like the magic discussion channel on the Discord, bro. People make the most atrocious stuff I have ever seen. Like, I can't even imagine the stuff that they make, and then they just make it, and I'm like, bro, how the hell did you come up with something this like horrible? So yes, I understand why the pact had to happen. It did have to happen. Did I agree with the way they did it? Absolutely not. But taking out the healing witches, guys. Like, you couldn't have implemented an FDA style or like a like health organization to regulate the use of this stuff. Like, you regulate the use of all other magic, why can't you regulate use of healing magic too? Like, limit it instead of ban it outright. Like, I don't know, man. I think they're trying to make a power play, you know. I don't trust them. They're propaganda machine. But whatever. Endlings, ignore that. Come on, man. You gotta fuck the brim hats a little. And also, I see you, these. I do not like you. Alright. Okay. Absolutely banger shot. Going through the cloud like that. Oh my god, Kiffer. You are so much cooler than Gojo, man. Like, bro has nothing on your aura, man. Egwin, looking fly as ever. That is, you look a little ridiculous, but I think it's aura. Come on, man. Bro, you cannot complain about that. Wait a minute. I never noticed how similar his hat looks to Kifri. Hold on. That does look... Oh. More fuel for the clone theorists, guys. More fuel for the clone theorists. Okay, this spell. I actually missed it on my first viewing, but this one is interesting. So, it's really hard to see. But in the middle here, we got a dragon decorative sigil. Surrounded by column, and look at that, enlargement signs, and also water sigils somewhere right there. They're really hard to see. It's like, it's not great, but water sigils, column, enlargement or expansion, it depends on the name you want. Floating expansion is the official name, so I guess it's fair to call them expansion signs. But basically, by using column underneath the spell in the beam, you create the dragon. But wait, the dragon's made of water, and you're enlarging it, so you get the giant water dragon you use to distract the dragon in the chapter, which is spectacular, really. Really cool use of spells. I'm pleased to see a new spell in this video that I hadn't seen before. This is the only one. Oh my god, I love the Piss Lake. Absolutely banger trailer, by the way. I am so unbelievably pleased. I am really glad the animation is as clean as it is. Makes me so happy. The wait was worth it, bro. The delays, all worth it. I am so pleased. But yeah, that's about all I have to say on the matter. That's the trailer, so I hope you guys all enjoyed. And that is wraps.